Good morning. It's been 1 week. I've been really busy in the mornings and haven't been able to do this, but getting out for my first walk in a while. And I wanted to continue that personal testimonial that I was working on about my kind of later childhood. I talked about that wonderful Christian school I went to as a really young elementary school aged person, and how God used that to bring stability in my life. Wonderful to have and support Christian schools. And it's different now because of inflation, and schools have gotten so expensive. Even to send your kids, it could cost you what it cost me to go to high school, just to send kids to an elementary school. I think my parents paid on the order of $5,000 a year for me to go to high school, and now that's what it costs to go to most very humble, small, and not very big or fancy private schools. So I wanted to talk about how I went to Catholic high school, and there were some maybe that thought I would be end up becoming a Roman Catholic convert. Maybe the contrary happened. The first encounter I had with a priest was in my first religion class, where I got 4 years of what they call the catechism stage, the 6-month weekly classes that they do for converts to the Roman Catholic religion. Well, I had 4 years of that, and I had class every day, and so I learned pretty thoroughly what they believed, and this priest was going to teach us an overview of the Bible. And one of the first things he said, he got into Genesis 1:1. He says, "Oh yeah, by the way, these first 11 chapters are just myth. It's nothing historical here, and that's why we don't believe the Bible in an absolute sense. We don't believe that you can rely on the Bible as a science textbook and for archaeological historical information." He said that these must have been a very liberal priest, or maybe this is how the majority of them are. He talked with confidence. Actually, his personality reminds me of a pastor I later had in life. But a man of conviction, just all the wrong convictions. You can be sincere about your beliefs, but be sincerely wrong. And that's what he was. His name was Father Lindsay. And I refused to call him Father. I called him Mr. Lindsay. And he was not happy with me because of that. He almost threw me out of his class. I said, "You're not my father. I'm not Roman Catholic, so I'm not going to call you that. I'll call you Mr. Lindsay." And man, that guy, he turned all sorts of shades of red. And I stayed in the class, but I didn't call him Father. I just didn't call him anything. So he wasn't my father, and the Bible actually says you should call no man father, because we have a Father in heaven. But just getting back to this time in my life in high school, it was a time I lived with my father. I moved to live with my father by this point. He was living down in Hollywood in Los Angeles, trying to make it in the film industry, which didn't really pan out. Shortly after I left for college, I think he was in Hollywood for less than 10 years, maybe 7 or so years. And actually, I think he moved down there in 92, and I graduated in 97. I think he moved out of the area by 98 or 99, so maybe 7 years total he worked in that industry. It was difficult times for him, interesting times for me. It made me never really want to be involved in that kind of a thing. Some of you may watch my sermons and see that I'm not the most animated, exciting Shakespearean orator, even though I did have a moment in my life where I studied in high school and was involved in drama, but I don't think that that's what preaching the truth is about. It's not about emotionalism. It's not about trying to extract an emotion out of people. Now, I do think that over time I have probably become a little bit more charismatic, and sometimes in how I talk about things. But I really like Martin Lloyd-Jones's approach. He says we have logic on fire. It's not that we don't want emotion in our sermons or in our church services. It's just that our religion is not emotionalism. So I did study public speaking. I shouldn't tell everybody this. wonder why I'm not a better public speaker. I did study public speaking. I was on the speech and debate team. I was the captain of our speech and debate club in high school, where we competed and traveled nationally. I was on the drama in the drama department for a while, and I learned a lot of really good things. But anyways, that high school experience, there was a lot of darkness. I think in some ways that high school experience was a lot more secular than anything, and I don't really recall. There were a couple of girls that met with me at the prayer at the pole, and two girls, Caroline McGregor, I think, I can't remember their names. Anyways, Christiane something, and it was these two local Roman Catholic girls and I, but none of the other students showed any interest in spiritual things. And I prayed my Pentecostal prayers at the pole, fiery and zesty and full of love for the Lord and his things, and the Roman Catholic girls prayed their sort of rote, mechanical, emotionless, lifeless, soulless prayers, and never really was that impressed with Roman Catholicism. I have a lot of Roman Catholic friends over the years, and don't take this as certainly I think badly of all Roman Catholics. I know some are very devout, but in my experience, my high school experience especially, I definitely did not get any sense that Roman Catholics had any sort of piety whatsoever. Pretty weak, pretty anemic at best. So I now I'm in the religious world, and I come across people who are either Roman Catholic and struggling with their faith, or I know some Roman Catholics that even have professed the gospel to me out of their own mouth. That's by Jesus Christ alone that we're saved, and by no other. And they seem to have a very balanced view of the gospel. I think they have a little superstition intermixed, but can't say that evangelicals don't have maybe even some worse superstitions, the way they go on about continuing revelation, unbiblical pronouncements, prophetic words. I have family members who you may say, oh, well, they're saved because they have the gospel because they're evangelical, but then they have these very unbiblical ideas about how God speaks to man today. And so anyways, they say so-and-so prophet said this and that is going to happen, and there's just some very, very bad and ways in which sometimes I wonder if evangelicals are more superstitious than Roman Catholics are. But anyways, I had a really good experience by and large, really good education, had a really good American history teacher. In fact, if I had to point to one class that was by far my favorite, is my American history teacher, and Mr. Woolery. And I think he taught at that school for a long time. I don't know if he's retired by now. I hope he is. I think he was in his 40s maybe when I was a student, so he would be probably easily in his late 60s now. But I had a really blessed time. I really had a really blessed time. I don't want to complain about my experience, but we didn't go to church. But one time I had a desire to go to church, and I said to my dad, I said, let's go to church. So we did, and we went to the church of the editor of my Bible. I had a Spirit-Filled Life Bible, and it was edited by an evangelical man named Jack Hayford. He was sort of the mega church pastor in the valley, the San Fernando Valley. So we went to that church. He wasn't there. We saw him on the screen. They had the mega church thing down before a lot of churches, I guess. And we went there, and it was like stadium seating, and we were up in the nosebleeds, and it was probably the oddest church experience I've ever had. Really unfortunate, I think, sometimes that new believers or believers that are not churched like me at the time go to these places, and it's just very, very anemic religion. At the end, I remember we were asked to pray with the person next to us, so we did. We prayed with the black man that was sitting next to us, and he was crying about how his family was broken up, and he'd done some horrible things, and was getting divorced, and all his wife and children were on the line. And so it was an interesting experience, because of course I never saw him again. We never went back, and there was really no way to connect with people there. It was thousands and thousands of people all cramming in there at once. If you've ever been to a small Presbyterian church, you know how beautiful it can be to meet people. And then you walk in the door, and then you see those people at the end of church, and they'll have a coffee hour, cookie time, or some sort of fellowship time. And there's just something really beautiful about it, about the small churches, that you'll never get that at a big church. I encourage you, if you're exploring and looking for answers, definitely look into a small Presbyterian church near you. There are conservative ones, PCA, OPC, Bible Pres. I want to show you where I am. I'm at the College of Idaho. Luxna Lex Rex. Lex Rex is the motto of, or the book that's written by Samuel Rutherford. This was a Presbyterian college, and some interesting symbols they have up there: the American flag, the Bible. I'm pretty sure that's a crown, and then a sun, which looks more like the southwestern sun that you get in New Mexico, which is odd that they have that. I wonder if that's a new addition. But College of Idaho was a college, the first college in Idaho, Presbyterian college. It's in the town where I live. It's completely secular now, and I have tried to get in touch with the campus minister, but never can get a response. He probably is oh, there's lots of goat heads or something here in the parking lot. They have probably a liberal agenda here at this college and don't want conservatives coming in, but I'm trying to get in. So bless you. It's good to